Archie, so back, of course, talking about some more FF7 Rebirth, and today we have a follow-up to yesterday's video, the video I put out like pretty late last night, where we looked at Kitase's New Year message for 2023, where he talked about like Rebirth and kind of teased new projects and stuff, but there's a little bit of kind of confusion on what was actually being said there based on like translations from Audrey. We didn't know exactly what he meant and what exactly he was teasing, but today Square Enix actually dropped the English version of these New Year messages, like their article or whatever on their websites, and it clears up a lot of this shit. In fact, it clears it all up, actually. So we're just going to hop right into it. We're going to read Kitase's quote on this article, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. And it says, "Happy New Year to you all. Final Fantasy 16 is set to release this year, which means Yoshi P needs your support now more than ever. Cheer him on as he gives it his all down the stretch. Also, development is picking up speed on the title I'm producing, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm sure many of your collective imaginations are running wild trying to picture how we'll recreate some of the game's most iconic scenes, plural, and we'll have more to share about that when the time is right. There's also another big announcement unrelated to Final Fantasy VII that I can't say anything about just yet. Rest assured, we're working hard to make sure 2023 is the most exciting year yet." So there we have the answer to yesterday's big question on what the fuck was Kitase talking about. Was he teasing one iconic, memorable scene that may or may not be in Rebirth, or was he just talking about multiple iconic scenes and how they're going to be interpreted when it comes to Rebirth? And obviously it was the latter, so he wasn't teasing whether or not Aerith would or wouldn't die, or whether or not that scene wouldn't be in Rebirth. So this is why I criticize Audrey translation sometimes. I'm not trying to make a video to shit on Audrey, but this is what we talk about. And after making that video and stuff, I had multiple people like comments on my video on Twitter and stuff telling me like she got it wrong. And this is just another case of her translating to her discretion or what she wants it to be or whatever. I don't know. Something weird. Anyways. As it stands, Kitase's quote is still interesting, but I wouldn't say it's really newsworthy compared to what we thought the initial version might have been, right? Teasing that some aspects of the original story might not be there, whatever the case. Like now it's just like him saying, "I bet y'all are wondering what these iconic scenes are going to look like." And it's like, yeah, obviously that's kind of the entire point of Remake. We want to see that shit from FF7 in the modern era. So again, not really an important quote, so to speak. The other exciting bit from this English version of Kitase's quote is that he confirms that this unannounced project, whatever it is actually not related to FF7, which I briefly did mention in last night's video. I did say that it might not be related to FF7, though at the time I did think that it was. But it's actually more exciting that it's not, because that means it's something brand new. Because we know that there is still at least one more unannounced FF7 thing. We know that because of Memoria. I've mentioned that in the last couple of videos. But the fact that Kitase is confirming that this is not related to FF7, that means there's something FF7 brand new still in the pipeline at some point. But also this new project, which what this could be, it's, again, hard to really say. Where I'm going with it, and as a lot of people also mentioned too, is that illustrious, the elusive FF9 remake. God damn, I hope that's what it is. So when we got that NVIDIA GeForce Now leak, I think it was like November 2021 or whatever, there's obviously a shit ton of games on the list, but I believe that every Square Enix game that was on that list has come to fruition except for the 9 remake and the Tactics remaster. So I guess that's also a possibility. That's a little less exciting. I mean, I love me some Final Fantasy Tactics, don't get me wrong. But I am very much more so looking forward to like a 9 remake or really a remake of just about any other Final Fantasy than I am just a remaster. And I do think that what Kitase is teasing is in regards to the Final Fantasy series, just because that's like what his entire New Year's quote's about, right? 16, Rebirth, and an unannounced project, so I would assume it's in regards to Final Fantasy as well. It even says that they want to make, 2023 the most exciting year yet. And how do you get more exciting than Remake Part 2, Rebirth, a new numbered entry with 16, and then another possible, Final Fantasy remake, whether that's 9 or something else. I know 6 is also popular. I believe Kitase or somebody on the dev team has talked in the past if they could remake another Final Fantasy. I think Kitase did say like he'd want to do like 5 or something. There's also, I've seen some people kind of throw it out there that, that potential, Final Fantasy X-3, which the devs talked about relatively recently. We discussed that in a recent video as well. There's supposed to be a 10-3. Now, would they do a 10-3 that's like a sequel or a prequel? Would they do Braska or an Inject, or would you do whatever the third game would be? I don't know. But, a 10-3, I don't know, man. I love me some fucking Final Fantasy X. I don't know if I would want, 10-3 more or less than a 9 remake, man. I don't know where I'd fall on that. That's an interesting discussion. But going back to what I said previously, there should still also be something FF7 related that we haven't been shown yet based on what Nomura said at the beginning of 2022. So there is still that as well. So we might have like a 9 remake revealed next year, Rebirth potentially dropping next year, 16 dropping, and then maybe something else FF7 related on top of Ever Crisis dropping next year. 2023 is going to be big, dude. I'm excited. So that's more or less the video, my dude. Just want to give you a follow-up and kind of clarify exactly what Kitase was saying with his New Year message for 2023, but pass it off to you guys. The obvious question here, this unannounced project that's not in relation to Final Fantasy VII, what the hell do you think that is, my dudes? Is that Final Fantasy IX Remake finally, or is it something else? Something else? Do you think it's related to Final Fantasy? Is it something else entirely? What are your thoughts? That's the video. Subscribe to the show if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DavidWhitesey. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.